The evolution of Agile since 2001 is interesting because the number of frameworks and practices were about well before the signing of the Manifesto for Agile Software Development in 2001, which many people shorthand to the Agile Manifesto. The publishing of the paper, The New Product Development Game by Takeuchi and Nonaka in 1986, recognized that there was a need for a more iterative and frequent approach to value delivery. Scrum started to be formed in 1993 and was published formally in 1995 at the UPSLA conference. The ideas from Scrum were then shared freely, and many of them are picked up within Extreme Program. In the UK, there were the DSDM formation, which was agile in that it was more frequent than waterfall, but it wasn't as rapid as many of the other frameworks. The inclusion of frameworks like Crystal, having testing input, helped define the core principles of agility in 2001. And if you go and have a look at the website, you'll notice it hasn't changed since that publication time. Probably one of the biggest innovations since the formation of that was the structuring of the Kanban method in Corvus in 2006. And this is where Dan Vacanti and David Anderson took two different approaches to define the Kanban method for maximizing flow. In 2010, the Scrum framework was finally published in the Scrum Guide, and we're very fortunate that there is a single canonical point of reference for Scrum. You'll see that the Extreme Programming framework hasn't been updated recently. And there are two different locations for Kanban. However, I will prefer the Kanban guide. What we have also seen is a massive explosion in complementary practices supporting Agile. Another interesting innovation is the use of the term DevOps, which is really Scrum done properly, but there were so many mechanical or poor implementations of Scrum that people had to come up with a new word to try and describe what was going on, because the lack of professionalism being applied to Scrum meant a new word had to be used, as everyone was so frustrated with the previous definitions. And when you scratched at the surface, you realize none of those previous attempts described as Scrum were anything remotely close to Scrum. So what we're seeing is almost a return to the new. So the original Agile authors, the signatories to the Manifesto for Agile Software Development, were frustrated with the bureaucracy, wanted a faster feedback loop and connection with the customer. And we see a growing trend for people calling out for that. What has also happened is as Agile, Scrum, Kanban increased in popularity, the big consultancies and bigger businesses took an interest in it. And so we now see a commodification of mechanical or very textbook implementations. It is not uncommon to go to a client and see them take a 14-page Scrum guide and increase it out to a 280-page this is how we do Agile in this particular organization. Distilling Agile down to the principles and the core intents and behaviors is far more effective than trying to repeat the PMI or Prince2 how to manage your project handbook, because it provides sufficient guardrails for a motivated, connected team to maximize their value delivery rather than prescribe a bureaucratic and painful process. So in short, Agile has almost come to full circle in the 22, 23 years since the publishing of the Agile Manifesto. And what we find now is that truly successful teams are really focusing on the principles and are being less bureaucratic and dogmatic about the Agile applications.